Hey guys, we are going to talk about functions and relations today. So I am going to walk through some notes. Okay. I would just kind of be following along. You can get a blank copy from me later. So we're going to start off with some vocab. Okay. Relation, that's going to be a set of ordered pairs that relate one set of values to another. Okay, so just in general, relation, it's a set of ordered pairs. Remembering ordered pairs being like 1, 3, 4, 8, okay, just random numbers. A function is a special type of relation where each input, do you remember from last video? Okay, input was another word for domain or the x values, has exactly one output or y value. So each function is a relation, but not every relation is going to be a function. Kind of like how all of you are students in this school, but not every student is an 8th grader. Okay, function is a special type of relation. If we take a look visually, okay, a relation would be, sorry, learning to use my new pen, guys. A relation would be showing every student in this class's age and height. Okay, if we look at it, so here are my ordered pairs. Here's what it looks like graphed. Versus a function would be your age and your height over time. So we talked about in some of my classes today, this one looked more organized. Okay, there was a pattern going with it. Over here, we talked about how they were kind of clumped together. Can you think of any other similarities or differences between these? Maybe you looked and saw how we had numbers repeating over here. Okay, we also have numbers repeating here. Versus over here, look, every time the numbers are changing. So another same and difference. Okay, let's get into some examples today. So we're going to look at 3 different types. We're going to look at tables, we're going to look at something called mapping, and we're going to look at graphs. And our whole goal today is to figure out whether it is a function or if it's not a function, if it's just a relation. We're going to start with some tables. Looking at the table, we are given ordered pairs, and we're trying to decide whether it is a function or not. Let's go back up to our definition. So we said a function, each input, each x value can only have one y value. So let's look. Each x value, so 1 goes to 7, 2 goes to 8, 3 goes to 9, 4 to 10, 5 to 11, 6 to 12. This is a function. And we're going to explain why. Okay, so today it's not just telling whether it's a function or not, it's also being able to explain. So this is a function. Each x value has one y value. I'll give you a second to write that down. Okay, this is a function. Each x value has one y value. Taking a look at the next one. So use a table to decide whether it's a function or not. So here are my ordered pairs. We put them in a table. So 1 goes to 6, 2 goes to 7, 3 goes to 8, 3 goes to 9. Hey, wait a minute. Didn't we say that X couldn't repeat? X could only go to one Y value. So 3 can't go to 8 and go to 9. This is not a function. But again, we're going to explain. So this is not a function. X equals 3 has 2 outputs. Okay, this is what we're looking for. Does each X value only go to one Y value? If it goes to 2 different Y values, it's not a function. Let's take a look at another table. So do my X values only go to one Y value? So X, 1 goes to 1, 2 goes to 1, 3 goes to 2, 4 goes to 2, 5 goes to 2, 6 goes to 3. You might be saying, hey, my 1s repeat, my 2s repeat. But do we care about Y? No, we keep talking about each X value. Okay, I did not have any X values repeat here. This is a function. Each X value has one Y value. I don't care what Y is doing. Y could be the same number all the way down. All we care about is X repeating. Does each X have one specific Y value that it goes to? We're going to look at one other table. Okay. Input, remember that's X for my domain. Output, Y, my range. Do my X's repeat? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They do not repeat. Each X value only goes to one Y value. This is a function. Each X value has one Y value. We talked about in the beginning of this video, we were going to look at 3 different types. So we've looked at tables. We're going to look at 2 mapping examples. And then we're going to look at graphs. So for the mapping, know that your input or your X will always come first. Okay, I will not try to trick you. So input X domain. Do my X values each go to their own Y values? 10 goes to 15, 20 only goes to 45, 30 only goes to 25, 40 only goes to 35. Yes, this is a function. Each X value has one Y value. Okay, X does not repeat. It only goes to one Y value. It only has one arrow coming off of it. If we take a look at the second one, so domain, X, range, Y, 1 goes to 2, 4 is going to 5, and 4 is going to -5. We keep saying that X can only have one Y value, one output. Okay, this is not a function. This is showing us that 4 is going to 5 and 4 is going to -5. So this would be a relation or not a function. Because X equals 4 has 2 outputs. Okay, each X value can only have one Y value. That's what makes it a function. We've talked about tables. We've talked about mapping. The last thing we're going to talk about is graphing. And graphing is actually my favorite because we have this cool test called the vertical line test that makes it super easy to be able to tell whether it's a function or not. So we're going to go through a few of those examples. And always, guys, if you need to pause, rewind, rewatch, okay, do that. So the vertical line test, we're going to start with a definition and then we're going to show you what it looks like. Okay. The vertical line test, let me get my true definition for you guys. It is obviously a vertical line. Remember, vertical lines go up and down. Okay. Vertical line on a graph can only pass through one point. And to pull in our definition of a function from the beginning of these notes, okay, what this is still saying is that each x value can only have one y value. Okay. So this is super easy because here's what we're going to do. We're going to draw vertical lines all through this graph. Okay, that's all we're going to do. So if I draw a vertical line, I cross through one time. Cool. But let's check other parts of the graph. I'm going to draw a vertical line. Hey, I only crossed through the graph right there. Perfect. I'm going to draw another line. Only crossed here. I'm going to draw another one. Only crossed here. I'm going to draw another one. Only crossed here. So this graph is a function. Each x value only has one y value. My line only crossed through one time. But here's what's nice is you can be super lazy in your explanation. Okay, this is a function because it passes the VLT, the vertical line test, done. Okay. So we're just drawing vertical lines and seeing how many times they cross. Let's take a look at another example. So if I draw my vertical lines, I only pass through the graph one time. So it is a function, but let's check other parts of the graph. If I draw a vertical line here, I cross here and I cross here. This is telling me that when x is 2, y is 2, and when x is 2, y is -2. That's not acceptable. Okay, x can't have two different y values. So this is not a function. It fails the vertical line test. X has two different y output values here on the graph. Okay, I can only cross through the graph one time with each vertical line. We're gonna look at 3 more graphs. So let's look at this graph. I'm gonna draw a vertical line, cross through one time. I'm gonna draw a vertical line, cross through one time, draw a vertical line, only cross through one time. Okay, anywhere on this graph, on this red line, if I draw a vertical line, it only touches the red line once. This is a function. It passes the vertical line test. Okay, each vertical line only crossed through the graph one time. That's all we're looking for here. Okay. 9, it's no longer a line. This time we have dots. That's okay, we can do this. So let's draw a vertical line where the dots are at. So I went through one dot. It's a function, but there's more dots. Let's check the other dots. Here, I only went through one dot. Okay. Here, I only went through one dot. Okay. Here, whoop, I go through a dot there, and I go through a dot there. Not a function. Okay, I cannot go through two parts of the graph. This is not a function. X equals 1 has two outputs. Or you could tell me that it fails the vertical line test. Okay, two dots, not okay. We can only cross through one part of the graph at each time. One more. So if I draw my vertical lines, okay, it's always a vertical line. Notice I didn't connect the points. All I'm drawing is vertical lines up and down. So as I cross through, I am only touching my line once. And obviously I can't draw the dots on the line. Okay, so this one, number 10, is a function because it passes the vertical line test. Each X value only has one Y value. So to summarize, we have three different ways to figure out whether something is a function or not. We looked at reading a table. Okay, we looked at tables. We looked at mapping diagrams. Those weird things with all the arrows coming off of it. And we looked at the vertical line test on graphs. All three of these, you guys will need to know how to tell whether it is a function or not a function. Okay, and you've got examples to look back off of. So the big idea, besides the fact that function each X value only has one Y value, just because you are a relation, that does not make you a function. Okay, not all of these were functions because X went to more than one Y value.